Now let's talk about egg yolk versus egg white. What is the difference? Okay, there's a very basic difference in an egg yolk and an egg white in terms of composition. Egg white is lean. Okay, when you say lean, it essentially means egg white is low or no fat. And egg yolk is rich. And when you say rich, it means egg yolk is high on fat. Lean and rich are the terms that you're going to hear frequently in the food space, and that's essentially what they mean. Now, other than the fat, which can go up to 12% in a yolk, you also have a protein in the yolk called lecithin, Lecithin. Okay, different proteins have different purposes. Proteins, if I were to give you a broad molecular structure of a protein, protein is a very, very complicated interweb of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, okay, CHONN. And in that intercomplicated web, there is a big opportunity to fit in a lot of things, okay? So wherever there is protein and the protein is right, you can fit in air, you can fit in different other mediums, okay? So almost all high lecithin products have the ability to emulsify. What is emulsification? Emulsification is mixing two mediums that would probably never have mixed, okay? For all of you who sort of had a chemistry background, what we said when we mix two things, there are three outcomes, okay? Four outcomes actually. One is a complete non-mixing. Second is what we get is a solution. Solution means both of those mixed really well, and now you cannot make out which one is which. The second opportunity is called an emulsion, okay? Emulsion means those were two different things in different mediums, but they have come together to form a stable third format, which has, so if I were to isolate an emulsion, I can very clearly see both the mediums. If it's a water oil emulsion, I can see water, I can see oil, but they are now combined together. And the third is when you mix chalk and water, yeah, in which you can see the particles. It's visual, it's visible. They might sediment, they might not sediment. So these are the three possibilities when you're mixing two things together, okay? We are going to talk about emulsion, okay? Emulsion is a property which works really well with proteins, typically because of the complex structure of the protein molecule, which allows different other mediums to intertwine and stay, okay? It's like forming a web and allowing the other medium to stay inside that web. On an average, every egg in India is around 50 to 55. A good egg, a good Indian egg is 50 to 55 grams. Now, a good egg outside of India can go up to 60 grams. In India, 50 to 55 is considered class A. 45 to 50 gram egg is considered class B. 40 to 45 gram egg is considered class C. So if you are working with a class A egg, out of the 50 gram, 40 grams is what you get as matter, 10 grams is shell. Okay, out of the 40 grams, approximately 10 to 12 grams is yolk. Okay, now that is what we are going to use here. I'm going to take the yolk, separate it. Many ways of doing it. You can use eggshells. Okay, you can also use, everybody would have seen it on the internet. You know, water bottles, plastic water bottles to suck the egg out. However you want to do that. The basic nature and the basic difference between, as a cook, what I need to know, you know, as a scientist or whatever, as a science enthusiast, it's different. But as a cook, what I need to know as the basic difference between an egg white and an egg yolk is when you're cooking an egg white, it becomes elastic, okay? And when you're cooking an egg yolk, it becomes brittle, it becomes powdery. And it is for a reason. Anything that is high in protein, okay, will become elastic and stretchy. Anything that is high in fat, yeah, will either melt or it will become crumbly. That's why a yolk is crumbly, but a white is elastic. Okay. All right. So in our yolks, we're going to add a touch of vinegar. We're going to add a little bit of mustard. I prefer English mustard. You can put French mustard. Your homework is go and find out what's the difference between English mustard and French mustard. We just whisk the yolks together. On an average, if I were to give you a broad indicator, अगर मोटा मोटी आपको बताऊं तो एक एग योक जो है वो लगभग 100 ml fat को emulsify कर सकता है, लगभग. Okay, so if you are working with 5 egg yolks, you can work with 500 grams oil. For if you want to be safe, you can start with 80 ml or 80 grams oil or butter. Okay, this process that I'm showing you is the process to making a basic mayonnaise. You can there are other emulsified sauces that use the same method. One of it is called a hollandaise. In a hollandaise, I will cook my egg yolk first with a little bit of wine, with a little bit of reduction of shallots, and then add melted butter on top. Okay, so it's like a hot emulsion, a warm emulsion. Hollandaise is a warm emulsion with semi-cooked eggs. A mayonnaise is a cold emulsion with raw egg yolks. All right. The reason why you're eating raw egg yolks is for the reason why you can eat raw egg. I know a lot of you in the first year think that raw egg yolk hota hai mayonnaise mein. The reason why you can eat raw egg yolk is because, you know, these days almost all eggs are salmonella free. Also because when you're putting vinegar in it and continuously stirring it, vinegar is cooking the egg. Okay, here our vinegar is still cooking the egg. So egg is technically cured. The protein in the egg is cooked. All right. All you're doing is in one steady stream, you're pouring the oil, and with one hand, you're going in one direction in a cyclic motion and continuously stirring your mixture. Okay. A lot of you would probably have seen videos using mixers, blenders, but I always suggest you need to be able to make a mayonnaise with your hands to understand the process of emulsion. See, if you see the texture is changing, the color is changing. What is happening is both mediums that would not have mixed otherwise, they are now getting mixed. You see them as getting mixed, but this is not a solution, which essentially means that they are still sitting separately, but they are clubbed together as an emulsion. If I were to take it, heat it, or overcook it, overbeat it, the emulsion will break and both the mediums will separate. So that is a basic difference between a solution and an emulsion. And like I said, remember, approximately 300 ml oil, 3 eggs. But if you are starting, you can stop at 240, 250 ml oil. 80 grams oil per egg is where you can stop. Okay. Seems like magic, but like I said, it's basic cooking reactions. And you need to understand these reactions first and then build on the magic. If you don't understand these reactions and if you haven't experienced and worked enough on these reactions, you can never understand and create the magic. So you see the difference between where you started and where you are? But you should practice it. You should practice it It's a very important skill to practice and make friends with, okay? Now, when you have it, then you probably just use it any way you want. So if you see the sauce, I can thicken it a lot more, okay? Also, it needs to set in the refrigerator. Let's put a little more oil. And now you are being careful because you've crossed the 240 ml mark. Now you need to watch. Yeah. And as you see, it's getting its texture, it's getting soft peaks. So just a little more oil will go. And that's about it. So if you were to look at this, okay, while to the naked eye, you cannot see the egg yolk and the oil separate. Trust me, they are very much separate and they're both in there, okay? Now, I'll show you an example so you'll understand it better. So if you were to take any emulsion, okay, in this case, let's take this mayonnaise. Let's put it on a pan. What do you think is going to happen? There are three things that are going to happen. Obviously, the egg is going to cook. Okay, the air inside the emulsion is going to expand. It's only natural that the air expands because जब heat मिलती है air को तो क्या होता है? Expand होती है ना air. So the air will expand, the egg will cook, all right? And the oil will separate because the tendency of the oil when it gets heat or any fat, when it gets heat is to melt, okay? So while you are seeing it as one, okay, you already see the splitting happening at the bottom. See that? While you are seeing it as one, it is still not one. And that is the difference between an emulsion and a solution. You see the oil coming out from the side? So at any point in time, the egg and the oil can separate. And that is why it's an emulsion. All right? Good? All right. So you see that? You see the oil coming out from the sides? So the emulsion is already broken. Yeah? Here, all the oil comes out. The air comes out. It becomes flat. And the emulsion is broken. Here. And the egg yolk cooks. Just like an omelette. Pure science, okay? Nothing else to it. All right, so that was it. That was today's class. Like I said, if you want to start your cooking journey, you should start with eggs because eggs require finesse. In every step, you have to have a keen eye and watch out. That omelette, if it was cooked for maybe 20 seconds more, yeah, it would be overcooked. Okay? If it were cooked for 10 seconds less, it will still be liquidy. The poached eggs, if they were cooked for 20 seconds more, they would become boiled eggs. If they were cooked at a high heat, they would become rubbery. So if you want to understand the whole idea of time and temperature, everybody should start with eggs.
IIHM. For a great hospitality career, call 98310 50,000.